Dear colleagues and friends, my name is Lilla Garayova. I'm the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Law of the Pan-European University in Bratislava. This is my first submission to the LP's Law Review, and I wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to participate. For this law review, I have chosen one of my all-time favorite books. I hope you will like my humble contribution. Welcome to a journey beyond the pages of a beloved fantasy epic. Today, we embark on an adventure through Middle-earth, not just as fans of hobbits and wizards, but as curious scholars of international law. In J.R.R. Tolkien's timeless saga, The Lord of the Rings, we encounter more than just tales of heroism and valor. Beneath the surface of this epic adventure lies a rich tapestry of political intrigue, diplomatic maneuvering, and ethical dilemmas, all echoing the complex realities of our own world. But what if I told you that within the fires of Mount Doom and the halls of Minas Tirith lie insights into the very foundations of international law? What if I told you that the struggles of hobbits, elves, dwarves, and men were akin to our own? Today, we embark on an intellectual quest to unravel the legal underpinnings of Middle-earth, exploring how Tolkien's masterpiece serves as a mirror to our own global challenges. So, grab your elven cloaks and prepare your minds, for the road goes ever on, and the secrets of international law await those who dare to tread it. Middle-earth, a land where epic tales unfold against the backdrop of an age-old battle between light and shadow. The Lord of the Rings is not just a fairy tale. It is a saga where the very essence of good and evil is woven into every adventure. Our story begins in the darkest of times, when the Dark Lord Sauron, in his quest for dominion, forges the One Ring, a vessel of his power and malice. But fate intervenes and the ring is lost, its whereabouts unknown, its legend fading into whispers. Through a twist of fate, this ring finds its way into the hands of an unsuspecting hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, of the peaceful Hobbiton. Years later, the heavy burden of the ring passes to his nephew, Frodo Baggins, setting the stage for a journey of epic proportions. Tasked with an almost insurmountable mission, Frodo must traverse the perilous landscapes of Middle-earth to reach Mount Doom. Here, in the very heart of Sauron's realm, he must destroy the ring by casting it into the flaming goblet of fire, the only force capable of breaking the ring's hold over the world. Alongside the loyal fellowship, comprising of warriors, a wizard, and kinfolk, Frodo's journey is fraught with danger. From towering mountains and shadowy forests to the very gates of Mordor, each step is a test. Each battle is a lesson in courage, trust, and sacrifice. As our heroes confront forces that threaten to tear them apart, the question of morality looms large. In a war where the stakes are the survival of the very essence of goodness, what means are justified to achieve an end? This gray area, where intentions and actions collide, invites us to ponder. From the standpoint of international law, can the end ever truly justify the means? In the sprawling world of Middle-earth, created by J.R.R. Tolkien, notions of good and evil are not always as clear-cut as they may seem. The actions of heroes are not always lawful, nor are the deeds of villains necessarily outside the law. This complexity introduces a layer to our tale where the moral compass is as diverse as the lands and peoples it guides. Middle-earth is a vast land rich with diverse communities, each marked by unique racial and cultural identities. These communities often resemble states, each with its own governance and societal norms. Imagine Middle-earth as an international community. Beyond the individual characters, we find 10 pivotal state actors that play significant roles from the lens of international law. These include Mordor, the Shire, Lorien and Gondor, the Dwarven Kingdoms and Rohan, and the mystical Isengard. Even the enigmatic Harad and the unconventional Society of Ents mark their presence on this geopolitical map. In this examination, the concept of statehood becomes crucial. It governs the relationships and legal obligations between these diverse communities, especially when conflicts arise, echoing the principles that guide international relations in our world. Just as nations in our world navigate the delicate balance of power, diplomacy, and conflict, so too do the realms of Middle-earth. In the world of international law, armed conflicts that involve states are governed by a robust set of rules known as the laws of war or international humanitarian law. These conflicts, termed international armed conflicts, occur when states engage in hostilities. A real-world example of this was the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan from 2020, or the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia, where traditional states' armies clashed, clearly framing it as an international armed conflict. However, when battles involve non-state actors, like rebel groups, terrorist organizations, or in the case of Middle-earth, org bands, under no clear sovereign rule, the legal situation changes dramatically. The laws specifically designed for state conflicts no longer apply comprehensively. Consider the prolonged engagement between the United States and Al-Qaeda. Despite the scale and the impact, I do not think that this conflict can be categorized as an international armed conflict under international law, because Al-Qaeda, while formidable, is not recognized as a state actor. According to international law, to be recognized as a state, an entity must have permanent population, defined territory, a government, and the capacity to engage in international relations. This definition can complicate recognition in Middle-earth, just as it does in our world. In Middle-earth, many communities, like the Ents or hill tribes, might struggle with such recognition. Without clear statehood, their involvement in wars introduces a layer of complexity to understanding their rights and obligations under international law, mirroring dilemmas faced globally when non-traditional actors enter the fray. Hobbiton, with its rolling hills, quaint hobbit halls, and tightly knit community of hobbits, might easily be seen as a sovereign state. After all, it possesses many characteristics that we associate with statehood: a permanent population, a well-defined territory, and local leaders representing power and authority. The hobbits certainly seem to govern themselves, maintaining their own customs and ensuring their community's safety and welfare. They even have figures of authority, like Will Whitfoot, the mayor, or the chief elected official. However, when we zoom out, Hobbiton is just one part of the Shire, a larger region inhabited by hobbits. This perspective suggests that Hobbiton might better be considered an administrative unit rather than an independent state. To understand the distinction, consider historical city-states like Venice, or modern examples like Singapore, fully sovereign despite their small size, versus cities like New York or London, which, while influential and distinct, are integral parts of larger sovereign states. International law defines a state as having a permanent population, a defined territory, a government, and the ability to engage in foreign relations. Hobbiton meets some of these criteria, but lacks others, such as the capacity of foreign relations, which are handled by larger political structures within Middle-earth. In the context of Middle-earth, Hobbiton's self-governance is akin to local administration, operating under the broader governance of the Shire. This makes it a part of a state rather than a sovereign entity. Before the tumultuous events of the War of the Ring, Hobbiton, nestled within the Shire, enjoyed a unique position. It was part of the so-called Northern Kingdom, also known as Arnor, which extended its influence over the lands inhabited by the hobbits. During this period, the Northern Kingdom acknowledged the distinct nature of the hobbits, granting them a degree of autonomy. This autonomy allowed hobbits to govern themselves and choose their local leaders. However, as the Northern Kingdom fell into decline and eventually ceased to exist, the status of Hobbiton, and indeed all of the Shire, became ambiguous. Despite the absence of a central authority, Hobbiton and the Shire continued to function with a semblance of independence, clinging to the old laws of the times when kings ruled. This resilience illustrates a crucial point. Even without formal recognition from a sovereign entity, Hobbiton maintained its governance structures, arguably operating as a de facto independent community. By the story's end, as peace is restored and Aragorn ascends to the throne to the reunited kingdom, we glimpse a clearer picture of Hobbiton's legal status. While it remains a distinct community with its own administrative privileges, it is unequivocally a larger realm. This development highlights an essential aspect of governance. Hobbiton retains its unique character and local governance, yet it is linked to the broader political entity. This dual identity showcases the ways in which local autonomy can coexist within a larger sovereign framework. In our world, the question of statehood can often be as contentious as it is complex. Take the case of the organization known as the Islamic State. Despite the name suggesting sovereignty, it lacked critical attributes required for statehood under international law, such as a stable government capable of interacting with other states. This dilemma mirrors challenges in Middle-earth, where diverse communities, both human and non-human, possess varying degrees of political organization and territorial control. Determining their status as states might be equally perplexing. For the sake of our discussion, let's simplify our understanding and assume that all major communities in Middle-earth, from Gondor to Mordor, from the Shire to Erebor, are functioning as states within an international community. This assumption allows us to explore how the legal norms that govern our international community might apply to Middle-earth. Just as in our world, these norms regulate interactions, manage conflicts, and establish diplomatic and trade relations among states. By viewing Middle-earth through the lens of international law, we can gain insights into how fictional conflicts and alliances might reflect real-world legal principles, offering a unique perspective on the universal challenges of governance and statecraft. In Middle-earth, the alliances between different races, humans, elves, and others, have often been pivotal, especially in times of great peril. These alliances, while forged in the face of common enemy, bear a striking resemblance to modern international cooperation, where states unite for greater achievements than they could accomplish alone. In our world, this spirit of cooperation is institutionalized in the form of international organizations, which range from governmental organizations like the United Nations, or the Interpol, or the Council of Europe, to international non-governmental organizations like the Red Cross. These entities work collectively to address global challenges. Middle-earth has its parallels, such as the White Council or the Council of Elrond, comprised of the wise leaders of elves, wizards, and men. These councils of Middle-earth convened during critical moments in history to strategize against threats like Sauron. The Council of Elrond, though it only convened once, represents a significant moment in Middle-earth's history, much like a special session in modern international organizations. Despite its singular occurrence, the Council's impacts on the events of Middle-earth was profound, reflecting how pivotal meetings can set the course for major international actions. Similarly, the White Council, composed of Middle-earth's wisest and most influential figures, was primarily focused on combating the pervasive threat of evil. Though not an institutionalized body in the formal sense, their cooperative endeavors are akin to the consultative and strategic meetings held by international organizations, which is very much reminiscent of how nations today come together under the auspices of the United Nations to address issues like climate change or international security. Thus, while the settings and characters may belong to the realm of fantasy, the strategic alliances and councils in Middle-earth exhibit foundational aspects of international relations. They showcase how cooperation, even among the most unlikely allies, can lead to formidable alliances capable of confronting immense challenges. The stories from Middle-earth, then, are more than mere tales of adventure and heroism. They are profound reflections on the nature of diplomacy, strategy, and international law, teaching us that unity and cooperative spirit are crucial in overcoming the greatest of adversities. As we journey through Middle-earth, we uncover a world where the intricacies of international law and the principles of statehood are reflected in the alliances, councils, and conflicts among its diverse communities. From the Council of Elrond to the White Council, Tolkien's universe intricately portrays how cooperation and diplomacy are crucial in the face of looming threats. These fictional narratives offer more than just escapism. They provide a mirror to our own world's struggles with governance, sovereignty, and international law. Middle-earth's tales of alliances and conflicts shed light on the importance of a unified approach in dealing with global issues, emphasizing that no entity, no matter how powerful, can stand alone. Through Tolkien's imagination, we see that the challenges faced by the peoples of Middle-earth are not unlike the challenges faced by our own global community today. The necessity for cooperation, the complexity of alliances, and the ongoing struggle for peace and justice are themes that transcend the boundaries of fantasy and reality. Perhaps the most enduring lesson from Middle-earth is that the rule of law, like the quest of the fellowship, requires unyielding courage, cooperation, and commitment to a common good. It teaches us that in the darkest of times, unity and lawful action can light the path to a just and peaceful world. Thank you so much.